It's all right. We'll just go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah. It's all right, I'm fine.
Just
All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Secretary, call the roll.
Malloy, Dunlap,
Here.
Schlada, Casper.
Here.
Lloyd, here. Barry.
Here.
Nenza.
Here. We are going to switch the order here at the beginning of the meeting. We're going to go straight to the superintendent's report, please.
Thank you very much. First item is just a little peek into parent-teacher conferences. Wendy.
All right, thank you, Dr. Stawick. This year, D146 again took a goal-setting approach to their parent-teacher conferences. Parents and students were invited to engage in reflections and set goals around academics and social-emotional learning. Some of our students even did some pre-videos, which were really cute. The teachers reported that they made a video for their parents to see, and it included things like what I want to work on and how I'm doing right now. So they really enjoyed that. Overall, there was strong participation for our parent-teacher conferences. CMS reported around 40 to 50% and even had some 60% participation, which is a little above the norm when we have in-person parent-teacher conferences. Our elementary schools reported around 92 to 100% participation rate, so we're very thrilled to see that. And again, we'll come back around in April to revisit those goals and those reflections and work with our parents and our students to do those reflections.
Thanks, Wendy.
Sure.
Next topic is regarding COVID and our Test to Stay program. Our Test to Stay program has been a huge success so far. As of a week ago, we had tested 44 students and 3 staff members who had been close contacts using the rapid antigen Binax test. And, you know, we have to test those folks on days 1, 3, 5, and 7 after exposure. And so far, all tests for all individuals have been negative. So we celebrate that. A good number of folks that have been able to remain in school as a result of that program. Cook County Department of Public Health clarified some of their regulations, and there's a couple changes I'd like to point out to the board. The first is we're celebrating that we're able to to accept rapid PCR test results for symptomatic students so that they can return to school or work. Before they had to do the molecular, or it is a rapid molecular test, but they used to have to do the blood work in order for a symptomatic student to return. So now, if it's a negative test, once the student is symptom-free for 24 hours without medication, they can return safely to school, which is great. And they've also redefined outbreak as 3 or more cases or 10% of the staff students that are in a group, say a classroom. And previously it was 2, which was really a nail-biter for some districts because several of our neighbors have had 2 positives in the same class, unrelated, and had to do some dramatic things. So 3 or more cases or 10%, whichever is less. So that's encouraging as well. Next, I'd like to just announce that the PTA packed Superintendent's Breakfast is scheduled for Wednesday, October 13th at 9:30 a.m. We've sent invitations to the officers in each of the school buildings organizations, encouraged them to bring a friend. And we've also invited cabinet or the administrative council and the board, so I hope that many of you are able to make it to that. Another announcement that our November Committee of the Whole meeting, which is typically on the first Monday of the month, is going to be on Tuesday, November 2nd, and it'll be held in the boardroom at the Ad Center, so please make a note of that on your calendars. We have 2 condolences this month. Nikki wrote, as you know, she tragically lost her husband, Brett, this past month. We extend our deepest sympathy to Nikki and their family. Nikki's an 8th grade ELA teacher at Central. And Brenda Cook's mother-in-law, Renee, passed away last week. So we share our sympathies with her as well. Celebrations. Central girls softball team won the Southwest Interscholastic Conference Championship and the SWIC tournament. So they are tournament champions and conference champions. So we congratulate them on their hard work. That concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Moving to union reports. Are there any reports from the union this evening?
Hi.
All right, I've got some reports from a few of our schools, just highlighting some of the things that we have been experiencing in the last month or so of school. So from CMS, after a very long delay due to COVID, the class of 2022 made it to Springfield. 161 students and 18 staff members made the journey to the state capitol. The students had the opportunity to visit the Abraham Lincoln Museum and Library, Lincoln's home, Illinois War Memorials, Lincoln's tomb, and the Illinois State Capitol building. The Capitol was a favorite stop. The students enjoyed looking up at the dome and seeing all three branches of government in one place. The trip was a great experience and an opportunity for positive student and staff interactions. The students received compliments on their conduct at multiple stops on the tour. From Fierke, we had an amazing turnout and positive experiences at our fall parent-teacher conferences last week at Fierke. In the upper grade, students created SMART goals for their reading, math, and character traits and shared them with their parents in student-led conferences. These goal plans are something students will actively work on at school and at home every day. In the lower grade, students created videos to show their parents detailing the beginning of the year and explaining a celebration they have had, an area they want to improve on, and something general they wanted to share about their year so far. After conferences, those videos were also put on Seesaw for parents to go back, watch, and share. At Fulton, one class spent the month of September reading books and learning about elected leaders. The students read stories about how leaders are elected, and as a culminating activity, they had an election to select their class pet. The students made election posters, made ballots, and learned all about the three candidates, the hermit crab, the lizard, and the snake. All people over the age of 8 were invited to come vote. They had one of their students as an election official, and he greeted voters, explained how the election process would work, led them to their ballot station, and gave them their I voted stickers, shook their hands when they were done. Bubbles, the hermit crab, will be joining the class.
I love that there was an election age.
And at Memorial, after learning about proportions and facial features, all K through 5 students created a beginning of the year self-portrait. They explored skin tones using Colors of the World multicultural crayons. Each grade was assigned a background color for their portrait, and now the students are all displayed in the hallways, proving that Memorial students are a rainbow of possibilities. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move to public comment. Once again, this is for the public to address the school board. This is not a dialogue between those two bodies. Everyone is limited to 3 minutes. We ask that you come to the podium, sign in, state your name, and then begin your comment. Is there anyone that wishes to address the board?
January 10th, 1963, Communist Goals, how relevant it is to today. Get control of schools, soften the curriculum, get control of teacher associations, infiltrate the press, gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and motion pictures, eliminate all laws governing obscenity by calling them censorship and a violation of free speech and free press, break down cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography and obscenity in books, magazine, motion pictures, radio, and TV. Present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as normal, natural, healthy. Eliminate prayer or any phase of religious expression in the school. Discredit the American Constitution. Discredit the Founding Fathers. Discourage the teaching of American history. Transfer some of the powers of arrest from the police to social agencies. Discredit the family as an institution, encourage easy divorce, emphasize the need to raise children away from negative influence of parents, create the impression that violence and insurrection are legitimate aspects of the American tradition. These are just samples of communist goals. All of these things are happening in America today. We are becoming a communist country. Our freedoms are being taken away. You, the school board, need to stand up to Governor Pritzker and anyone else trying to teach CRT and pushing sex education into our curriculum at young ages. A sixth grader doesn't need to know how to obtain an abortion. They should be taught abstinence. Students this age do not need to be introduced to transgenderism. They do not need to be taught about masturbation. We are in a fight of good versus evil, light versus dark, freedom versus communism. You, our school board, need to fight for our children, grandchildren, and American liberty. Concerned parents are not the terrorists, as Attorney General Merrick Garland claims. We are freedom-loving Americans. We live in the land of the free and the home of the brave. May our Lord Jesus Christ guide you and bless you and grant you the wisdom to rule. May he put you on the right side of this fight of good versus evil. Amen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is William Gallagher. That's my wife. And since she only had 3 minutes to talk, she had a lot more to say. This is the rest of her commentary. She said, as a postscript, I am not against the LGBT community. I'm just tired of seeing it forced on the rest of society. They make up about 5% of the total population, but you wouldn't know it. Every television show, commercial, music video, or movie must include a member of this group. Now it is being pushed in our schools. Note a transgender male is on the cover of the Playboy this month. Just today it was announced that DC Comics is going to make Superman bisexual. Is this what we really want our children exposed to? Parents need to take a stand against for morality, not immorality. If your schools refuse to do this, find a homeschool group that'll take your kids out of public school. Hurt them in the pocketbook. Thank you.
Hi, guys.
Hi, good evening.
I'm Michelle Claremont, and something came up in just the past few days, and I felt like I should bring it to your attention tonight. So, my son's in 8th grade at Central Middle, and he and his classmates are about to embark on a dystopian fiction unit, and the principal just yesterday sent out, very kindly, the list of fiction via the SMORE. And as an avid reader, I've been racing through the material because it's all material I'm not familiar with. But I was kind of shocked. I feel like I'm a pretty reasonable person, and I did actually encounter things that I found shocking. So all 4 books that my child will get to choose from, because they only get to choose from 4, I would say that the content in all 4 can be described as R-rated. So, you know, featuring more than 100 examples of foul language like F-bombs and things like that, scenes of violence, and of concern to me, adult scenes or situations that, for me to describe, I think would be graphic in this venue. Like, I wouldn't say them or describe them here. So, concerning to me also is that they present very hopeless futures, all 4 books do, without a trace of opportunity for escape or improvement. And I just feel like right now in a pandemic, presenting 4 stories of doom is kind of tone deaf and potentially triggering to an emotionally vulnerable student body right now. To be clear, I'm not trying to ban books or censor anybody, and I'm also not a Pollyanna. I am very much in favor of complex conversations and that prepare our children to face an unjust world. And I want to compliment you. We just did a unit on The Giver. That book is dystopian, and it absolutely presents a way out. and a way to redeem oneself, and a way to redeem one's community. However, the books that my child is going to choose from does not offer anything like that, no hope. So some calls to action. While I appreciated the transparency, thank you for the email on Sunday. 24 hours is not enough time for a parent to familiarize themselves with 4 new fictional works, about 1,200 pages, really 1,600 pages.
30 seconds.
Which are not in the canon of literature that I grew up with. Number 2, if a curriculum prepared for our students has R-rated content, I expect a parental notification. And number 3, if an R-rated curriculum is put out there, I expect it to be balanced with a PG and a PG-13 choice. For example, a classical work like Fahrenheit 451 that fits dystopian genre and offers a glimmer of hope. I hope all of you will read.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Thank you. Tonight.
Thank you.
Is there additional public comment tonight? Okay, moving on. Can I get a motion for the consent agenda, please?
I move we approve item 6.1, approval of minutes, 6.2, approval of closed session minutes, 6.3, approval of destruction of closed session tapes, 6.4, approval of financial items, 6.5, approval of personnel items.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Secretary, call the roll.
Dunlap.
Yes.
Casper.
Yes.
Lloyd, yes. Barry.
Yes.
Nenza.
Yes. 6.6, approval of equipment to be declared as surplus for sale, donation, or disposal.
Yes, as is customary, every couple years, we have a generation of technology equipment that is aging out of our rotation. Vern does a nice job finding buyers for those so they can be repurposed and be useful to somebody. And the list of surplus equipment that he's recommending is listed in your in board docs and was in last week's board update.
Is there a motion?
I move that the Board of Education approve and declare the presented equipment as surplus and authorize the disposal of this equipment by sale, auction, donation, or disposal.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Secretary, call the roll.
Dunlap.
Yes.
Casper.
Yes.
Lloyd, yes. Barry.
Yes.
Nenza.
Yes. 6.7, approval of Burlington donation to Fulton School.
Yeah, really nice feel-good one here. As you know, your board policy requires board action to accept gifts over a certain amount. Fulton School was gifted $5,000 from the grand opening of a new Burlington location in Tinley Park. And what a generous donation on their part, and good for Fulton for going and getting it. So I recommend that the board approve and accept the donation of $5,000 from Burlington.
Is there a motion?
I move that the Board of Education approve and accept the donation to Fulton School in the amount of $5,000.
Is there a second?
I second.
Discussion? Secretary, call the roll.
Dunlap.
Yes.
Casper.
Yes.
Lloyd, yes. Barry.
Yes.
Nenza.
Yes. Information items, 7.1, quarterly investment report.
Yes, board members have the full report in board docs, but just as a quick summary, as you all know, investment rates are way down. Hopefully we're at or near the bottom, but just by way of comparison, 2 years ago, the amount of money we had invested was earning 2.47% on average across all of our investments, which generated about $1 million in revenue for the district, interest revenue. Last year, it went down from 2.47 down to 0.61%. And now this year, at this present time, as of September 30th, we're at 0.39%. So the difference, that amount will generate about $150,000 in revenue compared to the $1 million we were getting 2 years ago. But again, hopefully we're close to the bottom. They can't go much lower than they are. It's hard to go lower than zero.
They can't go negative? We can't
I
pay
suppose they
them to-
probably could. But,
Yeah.
so that's where we are. That's world we're living in right now.
7.2, HVAC Improvements Project.
Thank you very much. Want to continue to provide the board updates on the HVAC projects that we're working on. Last week at committee of the whole, we discussed that DLA had provided the district an HVAC systems analysis report. The intention of the report was to identify equipment and assign a priority level for replacement, along with their estimated cost for that replacement. With the input from the district and information related to the age of the equipment, the DLA and mechanical engineers determined that the rooftop project at Central was the appropriate project to do for next summer. After receiving the estimated costs, we informed you that we were exploring additional options to get these projects completed. So we reached out to Train, manufacturer of HVAC equipment that we currently have, and working through Omnia Partners, which is the largest public sector national purchasing cooperative, they began to look at our systems over there, and at this point they've given us a rough estimate on what they feel the project at Central would cost. And the rough estimate is a third of what DLA's estimates were. That, needless to say, that's encouraging to us. Train is working quickly right now to develop a full proposal. And with the, we've heard it from Train, we've heard it from DLA, with the uncertainty due to supply chain, and especially electronics with boards, they're looking to provide us a full proposal with possible action. They're looking to get the contract, the project signed in mid-November so that they can definitely get the equipment. And looking into December, they're saying they're starting to get a little bit nervous about the time. I mean, it's 7 months, but they're seeing significant delays. Also wanted to talk about Cruise and Fierke was always a project that we've been discussing. Due to the complexity of the projects both at this school and Cruise, we don't feel confident that the entire project could be put together to be ready to be accomplished next summer. So we're looking to put that on 2023. Are there any questions?
So we'll have another update at the November Committee of the Whole, and then likely be seeking action at the regular November meeting to get that CMS project rolling quickly.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Matt. 8.1, Communications Correspondence.
Me first. Dear Board of Education, Dr. Stawick and staff, thank you all very much for the gift card for my years of service. District 146 has been a great place to work, and I am thankful to have had the opportunity to spend 20 years there. Sincerely, Gail Reister.
I have a thank you card from Nikki Rote, District 146 School Board and Administration. Thank you so much for the beautiful flower arrangement. It was so nice of you to think of my family. And I truly appreciate everything you've done to show your love and support. Nikki Rote.
I have a note from Robinson Engineering regarding the school district approval for Fulton Elementary Safe Routes to School project. Please thank the superintendent and school board for acting on this in such short notice. Both our office and the village greatly appreciates everyone's efforts. Hopefully the village will be fortunate enough to get this grant.
Okay, do I have a motion for closed session?
I move that we go into closed session to discuss labor and personnel.
Is there a second?
Second?
Secretary, call the roll.
Dunlap,
Yes.
Casper,
Yes.
Lloyd, yes. Barry,
Yes.
Nenza.
Yes. We're in closed session. There will be no action after closed session.
Thank you, Fierke PTO. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you, everyone. And members of the community, there is food next door. The PTO was generous enough to bring in food for tonight. So please, if you'd like, there's chicken pitas and some chips